So you want to know a history of the Republican Party? This is Dan Kudowy, the 3-minute info dash. The Republican Party was created in 1856, immediately before the Great American Civil War. The first Republican president was Abraham Lincoln. His leadership of the country during the Civil War, reuniting the northern and southern states, and ending black slavery, led to a period of Republican domination of the American government at the presidency and the congressional level for almost the next 70 years, up into the 1930s. It was a period of incredible economic growth, presided over, for the most part, by the Republican Party. There were certainly Republican or Democratic administrations, and there are stories of those administrations that deserve to be told. But certainly the Republican Party dominated American politics up to the 1930s. In the 1930s, a great worldwide depression occurred, and the Republicans were in charge, and they were blamed, and they were weakened for a generation. It wasn't until after the end of World War II and the beginning of the Great Cold War with Russia that began in 1947 that the next Republican was elected president. This was the great World War II commander Dwight D. Eisenhower. He chose to become a Republican, and he was elected president to 2 terms starting in 1952. He served up into the 1960s, and in the 1960s, his vice president was elected president. But he was elected because the Democratic Party had come apart. The Democratic Party divided over the Vietnam War and over black civil rights. And this led to the next great period of Republican presidencies. This was the election of Ronald Reagan in 1980, followed by the election of his vice president, George Herbert Walker Bush, to the presidency. These 2 presidencies ended the great Cold War with Russia that had begun in 1947. Republicans were elected because of their experience with economic growth and with the management of military and international security issues. But all through this time, ever since the 1930s, Republicans had never been in any sustained control of Congress. This ended in 1994, when Congressman Newt Gingrich of Georgia helped to re-elect Republican majorities in the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate. And this really is the modern legacy, the modern period of the Republican Party, where the party is regularly competing for both control of the Congress and the presidency. The next Republican president was elected in 2000. This was George W. Bush, and he was there in response to the September 11th attacks. This led to a period of war that ultimately weakened the Republican Party and led to the loss of Congress and the presidencies. But finally, the Republicans began to retake control starting in 2010. And in 2016, in one of the great surprises of American political history, Donald Trump was elected president. And the Republican Congresses remained elected. So the Republicans controlled the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Recently, the 2018 midterms changed that, and the Trump presidency is going to be challenged again, obviously, in the 2020 election. We'll see where it goes. History continues.